What, dude? After comedian Aries disrespectfully entered the studio and caused a fire, the whole hip-hop community is calling for his dismissal. In now viral interview footage, Aries did more than just trash Kendrick Lamar. He dismissed Kendrick completely, saying that he isn't even close to the top 20 greatest of all time. Contrary to what you guys claim, his music doesn't influence culture. Wait a moment. You're talking about the Pulitzer Prize-winning Great National Tour, which placed the business in a chokehold and was dominated by lyrical savants like us. Twitter is dragging him in the reaction, even if Aries honestly thought he could say it while keeping a straight face. He is being attacked by YouTube reactors. Even comedians are restraining themselves. On Kendrick Lamar, Aries spears, surprisingly. Though some fans are starting to agree. Is a well-known comedian vying for Kendrick's name with Aries, or does Aries believe that Kendrick is being overhyped? The second is Kendrick's team. The good news is that they have already responded, albeit in a surprising way. This just changed from a disjointed perspective to a crisis of culture. Let's look at the significance of the Aries remark and the concealed shade that Kendrick disclosed a few hours later. Nobody expected Aries to be the catalyst for this week's cultural revolution in hip-hop. Yes, the frank comedian, Aries, is well known for his edgy stand-up, celebrity impressions, and unvarnished hot views. But this time, he went too far. Instead of simply challenging Kendrick Lamar's influence, he diminished it. Loud, proud, and unrepentant. When Aries was asked to name his personal top 5 hip-hop artists of all time, it all started. That's awesome, isn't it? During a podcast interview with Behind the Smoke Show's Aries Spears. That is a safe question to ask. Harmless until a WSN single that reached the top 5 Easy Pack biggies featured a statement from TTO Aries. Kendrick is cool, but I'm not even sure about J News and Eminem. He doesn't even come close to making my top 20. Aries doubled back when the host attempted to laugh it off. It's boring how you guys behave like Kendrick walks on water. Do not move the streets. Preserve the culture. But at the picnic? What? A cool conscious rap asterisk. Isn't it being bumped by someone? Maybe the strip club. Are you looking for real hip-hop? You noticed Yataka's messy farts as an artist? At the table, there was quiet. There was a frenzy in the comment area. The video became popular on X, which was formerly known as Twitter. Within a few hours, hip-hop was inundated with remarks from all sides. Fans were furious, in addition to being stunned. Kendrick screenshots with Aries voiceovers, and memorabilia. Speaking as though he had just dropped an album in the previous 25 years, Aries was seen out here. At TD Faithful, Kendrick Hive immediately went to fight after banding up like the Avengers. Sit out this one, bro. That resonated because Aries went beyond simply stating that he didn't like Kendrick. He essentially termed him a poetic artist who was pushed to GOAT status by culture reviewers rather than the streets, overvalued and a fake. This is the same person Lizzo burnt fans and never bounced back. He wants to come get Kendrick now. Kendrick Lamar is more than just another rapper. As a Pulitzer Prize winner and renowned performer of songs like Mad City, Damn, Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, and now Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the rapper is him. His huge national tour is selling out entire continents. His popular song, Not Like Us, also turned a rap quarrel into a revolution in culture. Therefore, who is Aries to assert that he is not even in the top 20? But here's the problem. Aries has a history of attacking black entertainers. Remember when he accused Lizzo of promoting obesity and said that no one wanted to see that on stage? He was hauled for several days, and now he sees himself as a kind of cultural watchdog himself. He seems to be more interested in Kendrick than clout. But when the interview footage spread, a strange thing started to happen. So that watchdog strategy is backfiring. Famous comedians started unfollowing Aries. His mocking videos of hip-hop culture have reappeared. Stories of Aries' worries began to circulate among industry insiders. Long-standing resentment, especially directed at more recent, well-known black performers. Aries once declared offstage that Kendrick wasn't sincere enough to be well-known and that woke musicians are weak. A source at a Los Angeles comedy club claims that he has harbored this animosity for some time. This was, therefore, nothing new. Below the surface, the water was boiling. However, a few hours after the video went viral, Kendrick Lamar's official YouTube account unannouncedly aired a little preview, which took Aries by surprise that Kendrick himself was watching. One notable message doesn't leap out in Kendrick's teaser Rain, which plays on a black screen. It just changes everything. Then came a text message that said, 713 just watched. No context, no caption, no thumbnail. Tip writes at left foot. And the fans went crazy. This man is going to reply with a picture that will render Aries Spears useless against Lamar. According to insiders, the teaser is related to an impending Kendrick video drop in which he addresses the disrespect from Least Respect. From the business. Loyalist commented, Kendrick cooking and Aries. You just gave him fuel. Hatred between generations and the comedy industry's use of hip-hop to increase viewership. This is not just melancholy. This is war. Not even Kendrick's camp, a stranger, has shown up yet. Salutations to Aries. No phone contact, no direct message, nothing. There is only silence and a counting down clock. Kendrick rarely answers if past performance is any guide. But he had already terminated careers by the time the Kendrick teaser was made public. Aries Spears' contempt was already growing, as though he had something to prove. The one thing no one expected him to do, he did. Instead of reversing it in 48 hours, he went back to another podcast. Kendrick Lamar raps, he added, made fun of Kendrick's voice this time as well, treating it like he was reading a dissertation. Imitated Kendrick's dramatic delivery and high-pitched flow in order to mock his voice. Aries snorted at the microphone. You all treat him like a prophet. I go up to him like a shabby NPR spot. The internet swallowed. AGN. It was not funny this time. That was obviously offensive. The hosts of the program tried to laugh it off, but even they were uncomfortable. But before the performance ended, the video had already become widely popular. That's when things started to get out of hand. Authors, comedians, rappers, and fans all started to express their thoughts. The word falling off at Real Talk Shay at Salah's Naps originated with Aries, the Fall Spears. The man left, adoring television, to hating it. Modric won a Pulitzer and a GoFundMe for gas money. But this is where things became very bad. A former Mad TV writer who worked with Aries in his prime posted this. He didn't like the hip-hop guests we had booked. In the past, Aries hated it. He thought of Kendrick, even when GKMC was doing well. Since it has been smoldering since 2012, this anger is personal. Suddenly, taste had nothing to do with this. The reason was ego. Aries Spears thought the society had deserted him. It was at exactly 7:03 p.m. that Kendrick arrived to symbolize that shift, but TDE was the one who stepped up. The next evening, a fuzzy photo of Kendrick in the studio was posted on Top Dog Entertainment's official Instagram account. Just as everyone was anticipating that he would reply with a song or a video. The internet went crazy when Kendrick's team posted something like that with the caption, "Some things don't require bars. They require moments. See y'all Friday." The last time they did that, it was right before the world stopped and Heart Part 5 dropped. Kendrick was standing in front of a microphone with a hood up. But Aries Spears was not about to give up. On his Instagram story, he posted it. All these feelings for a rapper you don't really play with in real life. I said what I stated, as you are well aware. His mistake was that he was no longer just nudging Kendrick. He was ridiculing him. Then came the first major twist in the plot. Kendrick, from a private event in Roy, was captured on an extraordinary web video. In it, Kendrick openly discusses humorous culture while mocking the black inventiveness of Kendrick's video. It's always humorous until it becomes your trauma. After mocking your voice, your pain, and your people, they'll end the show. But when you reply authoritatively, they call you sensitive. The footage hit hard. One could feel the pain was evident in his tone. At a damned enormous door, they took off. This man's talent stems from the generational grief of his fans. And you're letting a shabby comedian joke about his delivery. It's not her music that's the source of Aries Spears' disdain at the Black Culture Club. Instead, it's coded and concerns her rejection. The response from the industry then turned this online drama into a full-fledged cultural dispute. Indeed, Issa is the cultural queen, the creator of Insecure, and a real-life influencer. Through bars, this generation battles. In a tweet, she said, "The last one mocks it through bitterness. Through bitterness." Questlore then awaited the video, insulting Aries. Which one leaves a legacy? You know? Booms. The next video is cool now. Kendrick added an emoji of a facepalm. The Pulitzer Prize winners are being clowned. Let's go back to ridiculing Miles Davis now. Suddenly, dragging Aries wasn't limited to hip-hop aficionados. He was being kicked out of the cultural group. But here's the twist. Rumor has it that the upcoming video, which is scheduled for release on Friday, won't be a diss tune. A source close to Kendrick's team claims that the comic who never grew up is a serious satirical skit. The movie, which takes place in a darkly lit comedy club, claims to depict Kendrick as a silent spectator in the crowd as a comedian, who is clearly modeled off Aries parody's black culture. Kendrick comes on stage at the end, grabs a microphone, and says 3 lines to elicit white chuckles. You don't have to yell when history whispers your name, and it's not even on the list. The amusing thing about Legacy is that, before it's even been released, fans are already calling it an Aries Spears canceled career ender. Performances by Aries Spears are being canceled in the interim. Due to recent criticism, Aries Spears' planned performance has been postponed indefinitely. Comments from the community. In a statement, a comedy club in Houston said, "Broke Kendrick didn't have to release a bar, tweet, or disc. Instead, he let society do what it does best, protect its legends." However, there are rumors that Kendrick might still release a surprise song because Top Dog ended their Instagram story by saying that some people need more than silence, they need prompts. Additionally, Aries might not be canceled outright if Kendrick releases a song and the mockumentary after being paraded around the internet for days on end, he will finally be forgotten. Aries Spears started to feel the strain. His performances were being canceled. Aries calls DL Hughley in Atlanta. Another halted all promotion, and old videos of him bombing on stage were being reposted on Instagram sites. Instead of promoting the future, comedians like Godfrey Roy Jr. and Diane Cole have started to subtly disparage him there, tweeting about soiled legends and fighting it. Kendrick Lamar, on the other hand, said nothing, just silence. No interviews, no verses, no tweets, but the culture was speaking louder than ever before. The teaser for the comedian who never grew up received 10 million views in a single day. And fans were already referring to the "this new generation is soft." DL is the message. They have no idea what true comedy is. Assist me in expressing myself. This is where things go wrong. When the culture turned against him, Aries did what any desperate entertainer would do. Spiral. He didn't just call in any backup. Aries allegedly called DL Hughley, a fellow comedian and media personality who has a reputation for criticizing politics, society, canceling, and generational divides. During their private call, Aries almost begged DL Hughley to defend him on television. This new generation is soft. DL is the message. They have no idea what true comedy is. I'm not sure who should hear this, but maybe it's time to change. If you're a comedian and you have to make fun of someone like Kendrick Lamar in order to be relevant. The studio remained silent when DL Hughley went on his own radio show the next morning and flipped rather than helping Aries live on television. He said the last thing a black man needs in this profession is another black man ripping him down for having substance, especially one who's done more for the Dave Chappelle Surprises Breakfast Club community than half the people making jokes about him. On live radio, DL Hughley just reprimanded Aries Spears. There's the funeral. Aries really thought that DL would save him and missed too much. But this isn't 2002. Now the voice is Grandpa Kendrick. Suddenly, the comic pioneers started to back off quickly. Aries was asking for a guest spot to explain his remarks, but they said no. Dave Chappelle apparently shocked everyone. On a surprise pop-up gig in San Francisco following the Hot Joe Buttons podcast, he completely ghosted. Isn't anybody in this room wondering who the genius is? Dave sipped his beer and laughed when questioned about his thoughts on the Aries versus Kendrick conflict by his agent during a Q&A session. And it damn sure isn't the dude yelling at podcasts, Dave said. Even Chappelle, one of the most protected characters in comedy, implied that Kendrick was untouchable. So the audience erupted when he went live on Instagram later that night with only 800 views. Aries was inappropriate, and he was still unable to remain silent despite his attempt to play victim one. We don't mind that you have an opinion. We're upset that you don't regard us. Now don't cry. You were the first to laugh. I said what I said. Don't act like I killed someone, even if you disagree with me. He hesitated. Where is the right to? Free speech, but the comments didn't agree. My kid. Freedom of speech does not equate to freedom from repercussions. You were the first to laugh. The comment was then pinned by someone. Kendrick made you perspire without saying a word. A behind-the-scenes source claims that just when it appeared that Aries would be too embarrassed to give up the final nail, he was in the running for a comedic roast special taping later this year. But his name was removed after his Kendrick comments were criticized, saying, "We can't build comedy by tearing down culture heroes, especially not right now." But Kendrick's silence hasn't been broken, and supporters believe it's intentional. The source quoted an executive as saying, a few hours after the Aries interview aired, an insider disclosed that Kendrick had recorded a spoken word piece, which isn't just about Aries either. It includes excerpts about how black artists are treated disrespectfully for the sake of performance, clout, and the piece, which is purportedly called Stillness Ain't Soft, will be released on the same day. As the double hit Silent Strike, Message Delivered, a mockumentary spoof, Spears' Aries wanted a moment that went viral, and he was rejected by the entire civilization because, in reality, you can't act like a prophet and expect no one to take sides. Additionally, Kendrick's name is currently associated with terms like impact, legacy, and discipline. Whereas this was not a discussion, Aries is associated with terms like bitterness, irrelevance, and washed. This was not a discussion. Rather, it served as a warning. He hasn't even raised his voice, but it was undeniable by Aries' ears. The aftershocks were real. They weren't from social media fans. They came from people who truly held the reins of power: TV networks, agencies, touring managers, streaming giants. And the first business titan to react? Netflix, just days before the criticism surfaced. Aries Spears was in early talks to star in a low-budget, edgy stand-up special for the platform as part of a new experimental comedy series that features unfiltered voices. But that deal fell through after Aries' viral outburst and his disrespectful treatment of Kendrick. According to Lamar, an insider from Netflix's comedy section, "We quietly terminated Aries as it became evident that he was alienating not only viewers, but also a Don and a whole generation of artists and innovators. Our review system has now flagged his names." Yes, it has been flagged. It didn't stop there either. Sources claim that Amazon Prime denied Aries Spears' request for a special with the note, saying, "Our current goal of elevating black voices is not in line with your brand." Sheesh. Although Kendrick Lamar hadn't tweeted, the internet was still rushing around him like a cyclone, leading Aries to believe it was just a fan reaction. However, Kendrick's silence was an act of dominance rather than vulnerability. Hip-hop sacred was a noisy place. Masterclass, Aries sounded. Who do you think is being cut from comedy lineups? The disdain for the culture curator went beyond Kendrick. It was an attempt to define black arts in the modern era. As a result, the entire industry turned against Aries, and even industry veterans started to join in. Ava Diver shared the video of Aries mocking him, and Spotify then subtly removed Aries Spears' voice with the caption, "Some things you laugh at, some things you fight against." Comedy is not what this is. Punchlines cover up its bitterness. Punchlines? Aries isn't damn, said someone close to Spotify's editorial staff to Hip Hop Radar. The team behind Aries Spears tried to spin it by releasing a general news release. Aries supports the freedom of comic expression and sticks to his convictions. He has no malicious intent toward any artist and will continue with his passion. However, since the harm had already been done, no one should be surprised. Legends simply disappeared without notice or announcement. Our playlists reflect where culture is going, not where it used to be. Kendrick is the future. Even his other comedians were no longer supporting him, so no one was buying it. Corey Holcomb expressed his sentiments on his live stream, saying, "You can have opinions. It's okay. However, if you treat your brand disrespectfully, don't be angry if you don't get the same treatment." Something sacred is symbolized by the man. Aries. That's the secret, isn't it? Because Kendrick Lamar is now an institution, a symbol of community, innovation, and consciousness, things that civilizations have been yearning for more of, not less of. Kendrick, he didn't know who he was playing with. The industry obviously saw it as a cultural warning sign, and TD continued its silent marketing massacre as Kendrick. Legions posted, "You either adapt to the times or fade out." Therefore, Aries' comment about Kendrick's voice wasn't just a jab. It was also a reference to the type of musician PG Lang merch Kendrick is. Aries decided on violence. Legacy was Kendrick's choice. Without saying a word, guess who's still winning? A black hoodie with a quote printed on the sleeve and no logos. Or other features as part of PG Lang's new clothing line. Quietness is more powerful. The entire collection sold out in 17 minutes, barring Kendrick's first verse of the heart portion. Whoosh. Is it a coincidence? Not in the eyes of fans. This was petty on an artistic level. It was magnificent. And just when it seemed like there was no way that Aries Spears could be hit any harder, Charlamagne Tha God revealed on television that she had applied for an interview but was turned down. Why? It's not just the Kendrick issue. It's the vitality. You come for the culture. You come for Kendrick. And then, oh, it's not over. Say Aries Spears, radioactive. And the industry, since Kendrick's mockumentary video will be released in less than a day. And just now a leaked excerpt came to light. And you know what? Fans assumed that the final remark is aimed directly at Aries. Silence became famous because I made the sound unforgettably loud. Whoosh. It was midnight. Without any prior notice, interviews, or promotion, Kendrick Lamar suddenly released a music video for the comedian who never grew up. which had 6 million views and was 1 minute and 5 seconds long. Within 15 minutes, Twitter was on fire and YouTube comment sections were overflowing. And by the end of the short 6-minute film, Aries Spears' career seemed to be a chalk outline. The black and white mockumentary started with his arms crossed and his eyes focused on a stand-up comedian while he sat in a dimly lit theater. The character, who is clearly based on Aries, made loud, sweating, cracking, and exhausted remarks about rappers that sounded like therapy sessions. The audience was completely silent, and every insult sounded like it didn't belong. Kendrick just stared without blinking or smiling. And then the final twist of the film came. The comedian left the stage and tried to meet him in the hallway. "Dude, hurry up. It's only a joke. We are both entertainers, aren't we? You had the mic. You used it to mock the pain. I used mine to survive it." Cut to Kendrick, looking directly at him. Dark dot. The Scarface, "It's not soft to be still." The echo goes on. Hugh, and just when you thought it was the last hit, my friend. The cliffhanger happened immediately after the video was uploaded because 3 minutes later, a clip of an unreleased phone call was posted on Kendrick's official site. The voice was recognizable, deep, and gruffened. It turned out to be Scarface. Yes, my mind is playing tricks on me, or it's an app legend from the South. Scarface is also hot in the audio. In 2006, this claimed that Pac was overrated. We overindulged in these courtly gestures as real ones seep into these verses. Let M speak. There are no more pauses. The OGs are back. And let's not forget that Aries Spears gained notoriety early on for making fun of Tupac in skits, and even labeling him too sentimental throughout interviews. People didn't like it, but you got away with it in those days, not Ice Cube now. His past is now coming to light. Again, I didn't mind back then, but now you're making fun of Kendrick as well. Oh my God, the cliffhanger? Common then tweeted a fire emoji over the Kendrick video, stating, "Some voices fade, some echo." Ice Cube was swiftly tagged by fans, followed by Talib Kweli, Common, and Killer Mike. Make an informed decision. Not everything revolves around Aries Spears' completion. The elders of hip-hop are starting to recognize that the court gestures have been ridiculing the genre for far too long. Kendrick even responded directly, letting the stories, silence, and videos speak for themselves. However, fans are now Kendrick's. Final tweet of the evening was only 6 words long, so this is only phase 1. Do you know who else he made fun of? What does that mean? Fans are assuming that Kendrick is now the messenger of accountability because Aries Spears may have crossed more lines behind the scenes. The next step could be a song, another short film, or another icon speaking up. This is clear though, because Kendrick didn't just return the clap. It revealed 10 years of sarcasm, resentment, and culture vultures hidden behind jokes and spears. It was more than just a simple retort. As a result of a cultural checkmate, Kendrick Lamar released a masterpiece and silenced a man who made a living by disparaging black brilliance. He did this while pretending that it was just entertainment and without raising his voice. Aries Spears thought he was just mocking a rapper, so he ignored a movement. We must now ask, please leave a comment. Was that the most brutally quiet reaction we've ever seen in Kendrick's mockumentary? Should Aries Spears be given a chance to respond on stage, or should he be cancelled? If Kendrick's silence was more powerful than any freestyle, then that lying button wasn't. Subscribe for more in-depth analysis, lyrical dissections, and every viral hip-hop moment they don't want you to see. We let gestures run loose too long. Scarface has been making fun of the culture without anyone noticing. What did he mean by this? We would want to talk to you. Was Aries ever a humorous person? Has he gone too far with Kendrick? Who would you like to see respond next? Furthermore, sources claim that another film has already been recorded. Yes, this is far from the end. The accounting of an organization's accounting.